Recently, I added a tundra mountain range to a custom Minecraft world I'm building known as the Shattered Lands. Now it's time to add a brand new mountain to it. Now this mountain I want to be as jagged and rough as possible, as it's going to be a very scary and ominous place. Now it's time to add the shading to it, adding the areas where the light hits the mountains and casts its shadows. Now as this world is called the Shattered Lands, it's time to shatter the mountain. Now to get this effect, I'm going to add shattered marks all through the mountain range, from the lowest hill to the highest peak. For these shattered marks, I'm going to use crying obsidian, because one, it's going to give some nice particle effects, two, it's a deep purple that glows slightly. So at night, this mountain is going to look incredible. And I guess at this point I haven't showed you the whole mountain, so we'll give it a nice quick 360. Its jagged and rough edges continue all the way around the back, making it into one ominous mountain. Now there's an area in particular here I want to add a little bit more of these shattered marks just to give some emphasis, because here I'm going to have the entrance to the mountain, and I want to make it look as if the corruption is coming from within the mountain, flowing out of this very point here. With that looking good, it's time to be a little mole and dig some tunnels right through this mountain. Now inside this mountain, I am someday planning to add custom mob encounters, puzzles, and perhaps even a major boss fight. There's going to be lots of story coming from this mountain. What is this corruption? Where is it coming from, as it is causing lots of troubles within the lands? Now, in case you're wondering, to build this mountain range and to dig these tunnels, I'm using a mod known as Axiom. It's a very cool mod that adds an entire editing interface directly into Minecraft. Now that I've just about got these tunnels in place, it's time to move on to the entrance of the cave. Now for the entrance, I want to build a big gate leading into it. I've decided to use this picture here as my outline. I want it to be a very ominous looking, almost dwarven gate. So here I'm starting with the initial shape. Now, for the shape here, I'm mostly going to be using placeholder blocks, as I want to come back and retexture and fill in all the little details of this gate. I've got the nice rounded entrance, but I want to add those side supports and giant stone pillars off to the sides. I don't need any blocks in between the last two pillars, because the mountain itself is going to fill that in. With all of these in place, it's time for some texturing. Quickly added some rough texturing, we'll get back to that later, because now I want to focus on the entrance. Replacing some of these blocks here, I'm opting to go with tough, as it's a good darker color with a really smooth texture. And I want the center of this gate to look well intact, while the rest of the wall and gate has cracks running through it from age and wear. After messing around and getting some nice designs and texturing going with this main gate, I am very happy with how it has turned out. It is a very nice looking entrance. And I think it's about time I replaced some of this stone brick and added a bit of a gradient to it. Now here I put a nice little bit of a hot spot just to show where the sun might be hitting the front of the gate, and it's a little bit lighter. I don't want this gate to be flat. Even though it's a big, flat looking structure, I want to add interesting details, so I'm using a lot of walls just to add varying depths in the gate here, and also make little like cracks and places where parts have chipped off from weathering and time. Throw in a couple of stairs and slabs to simulate some pieces missing. It is looking wonderful. Now what would an ominous gate be without some ominous lighting? Now I want to turn my attention back to those pillars that we textured earlier. This is known as the Shattered Lands, so to add a little bit more of a flair to this gate, I am shattering each of the pillars and adding some magma blocks inside of it, just to give it a good contrast with some lighter accents. Now these side supports need some work. I'm going to take and recess this middle part just a little bit to give a little bit more depth. Now, similar to the front of the gate, I'm going to add some texturing, break up some of those solid flat edges, and add some little pieces where part of the stone has chipped away due to lack of maintenance and general weathering. Quickly going through this, I'm adding stone bricks and polished tough bricks in a gradient pattern to make the support lighter as it reaches up towards the sun. Now I've done the same thing on the other side, but I'm going to come and modify it just a little bit to give it a bit of a variety, because if they looked exactly the same, it would be a little strange. At some point, I added this really cool upper portion to the gate, finishing off the build. And now it's time to place it on the side of the mountain, and it just fits in perfectly. I decided to not put it flat on the mountain, but at a 45-degree angle, and I think that it looks absolutely incredible. It blends seamlessly with the mountain, with those magma blocks giving it nice accent colors, especially at night as that crying obsidian lights up the surrounding mountain. Now I wanted to break up some of the vibrant purple with some regular obsidian, just adding some darker bits to contrast the rest and give some more interesting patterns. And I cannot get over how good this looks at night, with the gentle glow over the whole mountain and a strong dark structure right in the center to draw your eye.